Hello, and welcome to this documentary on open networking, an approach to SDN developed by Dell. We're going to be hearing from an IT industry analyst to tell us just what he thinks of Dell's initiative. But first, I asked Dell's Arpit Joshipura the obvious question. What exactly does open networking actually mean?
Open networking is a vision Dell had announced in 2014, and it is essentially an architecture that follows the server disaggregation model. What that means is, instead of a mainframe where you buy all components, ASICs, software, hardware from a single vendor, you have a disaggregated purchase model where you have commercial silicon, commercial OS, etc. So networking has not been done in that way. We still have black boxes that are deployed. And so Dell took a bold step and announced open networking where you can buy software and hardware in a disaggregated model.
Dell says it's taking an agnostic approach to SDN. What does that mean?
Our approach to SDN is one of choice. Now you can say agnostic, but I would rather prefer one of choice. And what that choice is giving our customers is the ability to migrate from their current environment to SDN. We believe not all customers are equal, which nobody will debate that. But at the same time, different markets and different size of customers have different problems. So a university, for example, would choose to migrate to SDN using OpenFlow and technologies like that. A large enterprise who are predominantly VMware hypervisors may choose to migrate using NSX and network virtualization or OpenStack as an alternative. Some of the traditional customers may use the REST APIs and programmability on a proprietary system to migrate. All three approaches in our mind are giving you the same endpoint, and that's programmability, automation, and agility, and that's SDN to us, right? And so we put it all in the context of open networking.
But Dell has competition in the SDN space, particularly from HP. Can the company compete?
I would say we are competing, and we're competing quite well, both at the customer level, but also at the thought leadership level. So start with thought leadership, right? We're the only ones that have announced the disaggregation model where our switch can put anybody's operating system, our own, Cumulus, Big Switch. We've announced partnerships with these operating systems where, depending on the use case for the carrier, you can utilize that. So customers are really appreciating that, and we have seen some very good large deployments on that. So from a thought leadership perspective, I think we are running ahead of the curve. From a execution perspective, we welcome competition as always, right? When competitors compete, the customer wins.
So for the future, what does the future hold?
Okay. What I see in the future is the following, right? SDN is a 5-step journey, right? As I said, step 1 is terminology. 2007, 8, 9, we were all debating what is SDN. Then we get to use cases, right? Is it multi-tenancy? Is it slicing? Is it this, right? Lots of those debates happen. Step 3 was, how do I get there? What's the best path? And we have shown as Dell, multiple paths to get to SDN and give them choice. Step 4 is organizational challenges. Who own this transformation? Is it the server team or the networking team? And this is an important fight that's going on right now in organization. And step 5 is the benefit. So I would say there's still a last few steps remaining from the futuristic perspective, which will happen later this year. And then we will apply the same principles of virtualization to the telco market, right? Yes, it's called NFV, but at the same time, there's a infrastructure portion of NFV that needs to be bundled in with the IT portion, right? And that's what Dell will be looking at as we move along in the future. And so now what we have is a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, right? You as an end user of an enterprise or a residential, right, has the same interface into the infrastructure, whether you're at home or you're at work or you're roaming. right? I mean, that's the nirvana, right? It'll take time to get there, but you will have same applications everywhere, with a level of security, but you can change them dynamically. You can make it very agile. So that's what we're thinking. That's where we're trying to head to.
And what does industry analyst Emir Halilovic think of Dell's competitive position?
Dell has basically approached SDN in a very flexible manner, so to say. They are trying to let the customer have the final word on the ways how customers want to adopt SDN, if at all. It's obviously opportunistic. It is also following Dell's philosophy of adapting to customers' needs. It is also interesting from the standpoint of, where do we want to go with R&D? This is like opening it up for the customer's needs to be, let's say, expressed directly. It is probably going to play to Dell's advantage with certain type of customers. However, there are going to be others that are better served with a more packaged or closed proposition. There's space right now in the marketplace for many approaches, and it's obvious from the numbers that we see. Both closed approaches, completely closed ones, hardware-based like Cisco is proposing, all the way to a completely open, let's say, ODM-based infrastructure with the open source software on top. All of those approaches are actually getting some traction in the marketplace right now. And I would say that Dell's approach is somewhere along that spectrum, not unusual, and it is definitely not an outlier. So I think that it is a fairly smart approach. We'll see how much of a traction it gets. It is going to be the main measure of its success, and we're yet to see that in the numbers. So far they have been doing well.
So when it comes to SDN, Dell is smart, is adapting to the customer's needs, and is playing to its advantages. It's still very early days, so it remains to be seen how successful any vendor will be.